One of the characteristics of Gen Y is that your parents are very influential in your purchase decision-making process. So how influential is the brand that they drive in your decision-making process? I'm a Gen Xer, so it really wasn't all that important to me, but I'm curious as to your thoughts.
We'll start on this end this time. For me personally, I am an only child, so I have been strongly influenced by my parents alone. Basically, I didn't have any siblings to kind of alter my opinions or to look up to, but I am very loyal to the brands that my parents have driving. We've have been known as the same two brands that we've had since before I was born. So for me, that plays a huge role in what I drive and what I want to drive in the future, just because I not only look up to my parents as role models, but I really I look up to their knowledge and what they know. And they've obviously had a lot more experience in buying vehicles than I've had. So for me personally, it's a big deal, and it makes a lot of difference.
Like I said earlier, I'm a Volvo family, so I got my Volvo from my parents' Volvo. They passed it down. So I am really into safety. It's a very good car. It's great on gas. So it may stay in the family with me. But yeah, they have a big influence on me. Going back to the survey, though, we looked at that question specifically. And in the segment that I analyzed, they weren't really influencing or influenced by their parents. So it kind of, I think it just depends what kind of family you come from and what kind of car. I mean, I think a lot of these people in Generation Y are very ambitious and are saying, you know, I'm going to be driving a luxury SUV, eco-friendly car, all of that. So I think they kind of want to offend away from their parents. So
personally, my family, maybe not surprisingly, has never been particularly brand loyal, and so that never really factored in, I guess, for me.
My family also has been kind of switching their brand loyalty recently also. So, but I do feel that the company, you know, the brands that they've purchased, I'm really familiar with them, and I feel like I do have some sort of relationship and trust in those brands. When it came time to purchase, I didn't purchase those. It puts them higher up on consideration, I would say, but I don't think it's an ultimate, you know, deal breaker for my purchases.
From my point of view, and for people that I know, that there is that brand loyalty there, but a lot of it, at least for me specifically, goes back to I'm going to research the heck out of something, especially a purchase of that big. And once I know all the information, then I'm going to my mom and getting her second opinion to get her approval, in a sense. Not that I need it, but to have that consideration in there.
So I think there's a couple things, and I know the Deloitte data asked this question, and I think it was pretty neutral, kind of split 50-50 whether Gen Y consults their parents or not. I don't take that as gospel, but I'm pretty sure it was fairly neutral. But I come from a long line of GM powertrain workers, and when my mom bought a Toyota, you thought that she was marrying the devil or something. It was, but because we have so much access to all this information constantly, I feel like I'm more knowledgeable, and if I'm not, I can be more knowledgeable in rather 15, 20 minutes of a purchase decision like this. And so what they have to say, be like, well, how'd you find that information? Well, your aunt has them. Oh, okay, but I just looked at a bunch of different things, right? So their influence in a purchase like this would be very minimal for me.
Yeah, I actually come from, I guess, a long line of Honda Accords, and the influence that had on me was that was the first place I went to look. However, I'm part of the quarter of Gen Y that had a bad service experience and ended up with the Toyota Camry. So I guess it was just a starting point for me.
Well, when I grew up, my family bought mostly all domestic cars. You know, during that time, some of those cars had some issues, and my family had switched to import cars. And I myself currently drive an import car, but I'm not averse to buying a domestic car for my next car. For me, it's more about, you know, I want a stick shift sports car, whatnot, and that's not something my parents would ever want. So in that way, I'm very different from my parents, but you know, I would say for a lot of other Gen Yers, living in the area where their parents drove domestics and then had problems, they think of that. They think of domestics from, you know, the 80s that had problems, and that's why a lot of them are looking to Hondas and Toyotas, because they perceive that to have a higher reliability factor. But I think that there's definitely an opportunity to swing that back the other way and get them to look at domestic cars.
Okay, let's one more question. Two more questions. Okay, Michelle, you're the boss, so. Okay, so two more questions, and then we'll wrap things up and have some drinks and some food.
This question is for Boston College, but anybody could weigh in. You mentioned the live chat was a beneficial feature, so I'm curious, as a potential in-market Gen Wire, what brands do the best job communicating via their websites on the interactive space, including the live chat feature, and if you could be as specific and brand specific as possible, that would be appreciated.
The one brand in particular that we were talking about was Lexus. Do you have, regarding the other websites you have on there?
I didn't find any other car manufacturers. You know, I use Vanguard and I have it with them. You know, what is it? Land's End has it. You know, these much more. You know, Land's End is very minimal purchase, so I think it could really benefit a car manufacturer. I think it's great. I think it's kind of fun. It's like you're texting somebody else. They're slightly more formal in how they talk back to you, which is very appropriate. But I think it's a great way to communicate with Generation Y.
Thank you. First of all, thank you all so very much for your hard work, your energy, and your effort. This has been very, very inspiring for me to hear all the content from all the various speeches. And it's obvious, it's very clear that Generation Y is the future, the 84 million going forward, and it's obvious that your parents have a significant impact on your purchase decisions. But although a lot of the Generation Yers may not have the financial resources to make purchases, how influential is Generation Y on their parents' purchase decisions, who may be in a financial position to make a decision?
Just a couple of you want to answer that, or if anyone has a strong feeling.
Well, at least from my perspective, and going back to we're so connected, that at least for me, I'm researching things a lot, and especially with the automotive industry, I'm into cars. And when it comes to when my mom was looking for a car, she was leaning towards one way, and I kind of pushed her another way. She had bad experiences in the past, but I was the one out there doing a lot of the research, because I can go pretty fast on the research side of it, where she doesn't necessarily know how to do that. So.
Yeah, I would also say I'm very influential on my parents. A lot of times they'll say, "Hey, should I buy X brand or Y brand of car? I heard those are good." And I tell my mom, "Well, you know what? You know, based on the characteristics you're looking for in a car, you should look at this other brand that's, you know, come out with this new vehicle that meets your needs, and maybe they didn't back when last time you're looking for a car." So we you know, like Anthony had said, we stay up on the trends. We know exactly what the new cars coming out are. Our parents don't really know that per se, and they just come to us because they know that we are paying attention.
Yeah, I know that at least my parents are trying to stay youthful as they get a little older. But both of my parents just bought brand new luxury vehicles, and might be better known as midlife crisis. But I know my parents have turned to me and asked, what's the cool car? What do you think I should buy? Not in those terms exactly, but I suggested to my dad the Audi Q5. He really likes the SUVs, and he really wanted a brand new car that was right off the market, basically. And he bought it. He actually just got it last week. So I guess I'm pretty influential on my parents.
I think that's all the questions. I can't thank you guys enough. You should be so proud of yourselves. You guys did a fantastic job. I've seen all of your detailed reports. They're fantastic. They'll be available here tonight. We'll also get you websites where we can get you some of this information. So you guys should be very proud of yourselves. You did a fantastic job, and I can't thank you enough. So congratulations.